Changing subjects now, Donald Trump's running mate JD Vance has defended comments made against Democrats. The Republican vice presidential candidate called Democratic politicians a bunch of childless cat ladies with miserable lives. Speaking on the Megyn Kelly show, Mr Vance says he has nothing to be sorry for.
Becoming a father, becoming a mother, I really do think it changes your perspective in a pretty profound way. This is something, of course, we've recognized for hundreds of years in this country, that human civilization has always recognized. But there's a deeper point here, Megyn. It's not a criticism of people who don't have children. I explicitly said in my remarks, despite the fact the media has lied about this, that this is not about criticizing people who, for various reasons, didn't have kids. This is about criticizing the Democratic Party for becoming anti-family and anti-child.
Well, what a difference a week makes in US politics. Kamala Harris with huge momentum after President Joe Biden stood down from the race to be the next president. Joining me now is Professor Peter Mathews from Cypress College in California. Well, since we just heard the grab, let's start with JD Vance. Very interesting explanation of what he did say back in 2022. It's hard to twist those words.
Very hard, and that's going to really weigh him and President Trump down in the election campaign, because many American people have women who don't have children and fathers who don't have children. They're living a wonderful life, and people resent that when he comes up with a comment like that. I think it was very thoughtless of him to do that. It's really hurting them, I'm sure, in the polls. So we have to look at the traditional families versus the way families are evolving now as well. And when people don't want to have children, just want to have a productive life, that should be fine. It is fine. But many Americans feel that, and he doesn't feel that. So that's why JD Vance's negative ratings right now are negative 6%, which is lower than any other vice presidential candidate in terms of the approval ratings.
Unbelievable, Kamala Harris. She's had such huge support. Some people call it a sugar hit, but if you look at the graphs, it's extraordinary. Even the bookmakers have her into $2.30 to win the election in November.
It's more like a rocket ship, Tim. It's just incredible. The first day when she announced and when President Biden endorsed her, she raised $100 million in one day in a 24-hour period. Never been done in history before. There are thousands of people who are going online in these Zoom calls. It actually broke the Zoom system and had to be repaired to keep them on there. Thousands of people online, different groups of people donating. Small donors are over 60% of her donations. So that shows she has a lot of massive support at the grassroots level. Young people are coming back now. If you go to TikTok and other kinds of social media, you'll see that she's all over the place. Her memes are everywhere. And it's quite remarkable how young people are getting galvanized again. That's why her numbers went so far up. And she's actually tied with President Trump at this point. Former President Trump, she's tied with him. And the swing state, she's actually caught up with him as well.
Yeah, and it's going to be pivotal who she picks as a running mate. Can you take us through who you think might be in the mix?
Yes, there are three governors and one senator that are in the mix. I would say Governor Josh Shapiro of Pennsylvania, Governor Mark Kelly of Arizona, Governor Roy Cooper of North Carolina, and Senator Mark Kelly of Arizona. And then you have Governor Andy Beshear. Those are the four states. Three of them are swing states, which could go either way, and that would be a tremendous amount of electoral votes. For example, Pennsylvania has 19 electoral votes. If she wins that state, that's a lot padding for her, a margin of victory if she wins. It's going to be amazing, because if she gets Shapiro, she'll be getting a very strong person who can appeal to suburban voters and rural voters as well. He won by 15 points against his MAGA-backed, Trump-backed candidate last time he ran for governor. He's a very strong candidate in that sense. So is Roy Cooper, who is in a swing state of North Carolina, where I think Joe Biden lost that state by about 1% of the vote last time. That could bring aboard a new, 17 or 19, I think it's more like 16 electoral votes or so from North Carolina. So there's a lot of things going on here. The ability to appeal to suburban voters and rural voters is important in terms of the vice president candidate, and also the ability to be able to bring some of those electoral votes.
Absolutely, and it's been interesting to watch Donald Trump, because he obviously and his people had a very targeted attack line to Joe Biden, and they've had to really think about how they approach the new candidate.
They sure do, and it's been like a whiplash for them. They had not anticipated that she would actually be the candidate, and this would actually erase some of the negative feeling people had about voting and committing to President Biden. Problem is that for them, for the Trump people, is that they didn't anticipate this, and they have not actually nominated the right vice presidential candidate to help Trump get votes. So it's remarkable what they're going to do now. They have to make a quick adjustment. I'm not sure they can actually do it, but we'll have to wait and see how well the Harris ticket makes with the new vice presidential candidate. That will help as well. And when she formally gets the nomination, and the Democratic convention is going on in August, end of August, and she wins the nomination formally, then she'll even get a boost from that. So if they're tied right now, if Trump and Harris are tied, and the Democrats get a boost, that means Harris will go ahead of Trump. So we'll have to wait and see how things go. But things are going her way a lot more than his way at this point.
Oh, absolutely. And pushing that whole line of prosecutor, of course, the former attorney general in California versus felon, prosecutor versus felon. Is that the line that you think will continue?
I think it'll be occasionally they'll bring it up, but it's not the most important issue. The issues itself, for example, health care for all, which he supports, Medicare for all, that differs from President Trump completely. Closing corporate loopholes, taxing the wealthy more, and bringing in money to expand Social Security and Medicare, those are Kamala Harris's points. And Donald Trump doesn't have that plan. He has a plan to cut taxes on the wealthiest people, the biggest corporations, hoping it'll trickle down. They differ a lot on economics, on taxes. Those are the issues that will be talked about for her to be able to win over more votes. Student loans. She's for forgiving student with debt. She's for tuition-free college for students. President Trump is not for that. Vice President Harris is. And so that's going to make a big difference, those issues like that. Women's equality. Don't forget the abortion choice issue. The issue of framing it in the idea of freedom for people to choose. And freedom is a very resonating American value. It resonates very heavily. And freedom is what she's putting that in context of. Whereas President Trump is kind of floundering because he's saying each state should decide what to do about choice and even limit choice or eliminate it. And then J.D. Vance's position is so extreme on abortion that abortion should never be allowed, not even for exceptions for rape and incest. These are the kind of real issues that will help propel her if she wants to win this election, not just attacking President Trump on his personal situation, although people already know about a lot of that. So I don't think she has to really focus too much on that.
A lot of experts are saying they think that she'll win. Look, let's get your crystal ball out now. I know it's a long way and a lot of water's got to go under the bridge, but could we see the first female president of the United States in November?
It's looking better, as your betters, the ones you mentioned earlier, actually giving it a great possibility. I do think there's a really good chance that she can win this. And if she does it the right way and continues to do the way she's going, it's been phenomenal, as you know, and you've seen it in real statistics. And I do think we'll have our first female president. A good chance of that on November the 5th. It's not over yet. She's still got to work hard. We don't know what the Trump people will pull at this point. We'll have to wait and see.
Thank you, Peter. Appreciate that.
My pleasure. Thank you, Tim.